What's up, everybody? Good evening. What's up, everybody? All right, so just a moment here. Yeah, we are only doing chart requests tonight, y'all, so nothing else. So whatever charts you guys want to take a look at, we're only focused on what you guys are looking at. So you guys let me know what I need to be looking at, and we'll do that. All right. All right. Well, we will start with Apple right off the bat then. All right. So we go ahead and reshare the stream really quick. Those of you who are on TikTok, if you guys want to hop on the YouTube, I'll be taking your request there. Looking for an entry level on PLL equity. All right, we'll go ahead and take a look at it. I'm gonna wait just a few seconds, let everybody kind of hop in. Literally, give me, I don't know, two minutes, and we'll just let everybody. I'm just tagging everybody really quickly. All right, we'll go ahead and get started with Apple. So, I think we talked about the deviation channel that we're kind of been held in for a minute. Me personally, I've been kind of eyeballing the level in which we tapped today. I do think that Apple could see one more leg down. This is a was a demand zone. Now we're kind of bounced off of the top of that. So if you draw a line right here, and I'm going to go ahead and remove this target box, but let's see, make sure the angle on that's good. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so with Apple anyway, let's go ahead and draw this line right here. All right, so that's the top of that line right there. Got that support. Looks like it's right out there. So for me, looking at the way that this is currently set up, and I could be off in my channel because I'm looking at this setup right here, and it looks like it wants to try and hold this small channel support that we were holding previously. And this was kind of an ascending triangle setup here, but ended up breaking out and now is retracing using the very same support that it bounced off of to bounce again. So I think this is a matter of whether or not SPY, because the fact that we're close to this deviation, this linear deviation, which is just the center line of this channel, this standard deviation channel, um, due to the fact we're close to that, it does give you the potential to bounce. Even though you fall, and granted, looking at Apple's previous moves, you'll see that you'll get a bit of a bounce before you actually break here. So you may end up seeing Apple bounce down to that 145 target before curling right back up. Now, if you take a look at the close on the daily, or excuse me, on the hourly, This one's telling a little bit of a different story. So I actually marked this out. I think this is worth watching tomorrow. And I think I marked it out yesterday. So take a look at this. So I believe this is my thoughts because we know that quad witching is coming towards the end of the day, right? Hey, what's up, everybody? Yes, I will absolutely tell you about ASAN for sure. So and talk about a little bit of FOMO there. Dip buy would have been great, but it was a good temporary exit, but I think probably would have been good and long. But anyway, we'll go into that. So with Apple drawing this downtrend here, I do believe, and usually when you hit a major support like this, that you will likely tomorrow retrace to that 150 mark. Um, Big step. Cup and handle on PLTR. I think I just saw your post. I'll take a look at that, man. I haven't looked at PLTR on the daily, so I have Apple right now closed on Friday. Need it to get to 146 to the downside. So I don't know, bounce back to new highs. So that's exactly yeah, element FE. So that's an interesting point. And I would also like to point your attention to the fact that from the previous earnings, from the support bounce, we've ran from 122 all the way up to 157, marking a new all-time high. Now, if you want to just look at it from the channel, right? So if we're establishing this as a new channel, now this is a standard deviation channel, hand drawn, then based on the trajectory, right? So if we end up, rather than falling through this deviation channel, if we end up, oops, shit. So if we end up bouncing, right? So take this brush. So if we end up curling, right? Making a cup like this, maybe firing out like that, then absolutely. And I want you to take a look at this price target here. So, and this is how I timed Microsoft. You have to kind of get comfortable with the way the stock moves or look at previous moves. You'll see a nice rounded bottom there. So I would be expecting somewhat of a similar setup. Quad witching coming soon. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw a quick retest of that 150. Now, as far as moving all the way back up to 160, I would recommend being long. But if you take and measure this out for perhaps running into earnings, which is on November 1st, and remember, all the excitement starts on October. October 15th, that week is where we get the majority of our earnings. There we go. Um, Currently in RXT immunes. And what are you in right now? I will show you in just a moment. What's up, Rashawn? So with this curl, right? Um, I would expect Apple to break above that 150, perhaps even reject it and stay above. So the goal in order to stay in trend is to stay on this standard deviation channel line. So yeah, okay. I have a 155 call out till October 55th or 15th. I think tomorrow is going to be pretty pivotal, but I will warn you guys that quad witching. So, real quick before we get into quad witching, essentially is when stock index futures, stock index options, stock options, and single stock futures expire simultaneously, which can cause a lot of very volatile movement as market makers will try and move the stock in order to make sure that those they don't get burned on those option contracts. So that's essentially that's a short definition on quad witching. Yeah, we'll check it. Yeah. Thank you guys. Those of you guys leaving likes in the TikTok, I appreciate it. All right, so that's Apple. I'm gonna leave it at that. So my recommendation would be to watch for a retest of this downtrend. Of course, watch 150.50, 150 flat. It's always are going to be psychological mark. Uh, Above that, then I would just look for that dynamic resistance. So when someone says a dynamic resistance or support, that's going to be more of one of these, right? A linear. So you have people who chart with almost just lines, supply and demand zone, right? So they only trade off of that. And it's good to know how that works as well. But if you were to just base it off of levels, a lot of the times they're one and the same. You'll see, right, levels get hit 150, maybe a little bit of accumulation there, pullback, and then, a leg back up to that 151. So, um, all right, so let's go PLL, Piedmont Lithium. Okay, so I've seen prettier charts as far as I really hope that they wouldn't do something like a stock offering or something like that. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I've seen better daily charts, um, or excuse me, weekly charts. Let me go look at the daily here. So for sure, on this time frame, you've got a really crazy setup here. So I would watch this one to give you the range that you're looking for. And I hope I'm not wrong on this support. But you got this crazy setup right here, and it does look like on a lower time frame that you're dealing. So and this is lower, higher time frame analysis. So normally when I see something like that, right, that's going to kind of show me that we're going to reverse, right? So I would think that when PLL gets back down to the $48 level, and I would set some alerts on it, like 55.30, maybe 54 as well. But PLL, and for sure, I'll write that down. So right now we got, I took care of Apple, and it's just your guys' charts tonight, nothing else. So just keep them coming, one at a time, of course. Um, but yeah, I got you guys. uh, Element, there could be a squeeze on Nicola, but just give me just a second. I must have a supercomputer. What do you mean? I have a good computer, but not a supercomputer. Um, anyway, so PLL, right? Looking for a rejection off that top 57.61. I would watch it below 57 to cruise back down to that 55, maybe even that 55, 54. Once you break that trend line, I would suspect that you could see PLL down into the 43. But don't forget that you are very close to your resistance, which is right around here. So it is not outside of the realm of possibilities that you either A, chop until you tap that, or you shoot up or wick up and then potentially they pull it back down. So I would let that trade come to you for sure. Above $60, this thing's going to run. Thank you guys who are leaving likes in the chat. I do appreciate it. I can look at any. If you guys have any requests, go ahead and hop on the YouTube. That way I can actually see. All right, hold on one second. Zoom. Okay. Okay, 1 second. All right. Sorry, I looked up and I saw more requests. Okay, so let me go ahead and write these down where I get out of. So, all right, 1 second. Big love to you too, Robert. Man, I appreciate that, dude. All right. So PLTR, Starbucks. ASAN was it before that? Okay. All right. But anyway, that's kind of what I'd be looking for on that one, Mary, on PLL. Okay, so ASAN was the next sticker that was INI. Yeah, thank you guys for spamming that like button on TikTok. I appreciate that. Okay, so we got PLL. Let's go to ASAN. Okay, so let's go over the play first of all. Now, I want to explain to you guys why I ended up exiting these contracts. Now, I know some of you guys were green. I even know that some of you guys re-entered, which is awesome. But I'm gonna give you guys an idea as to why I cut my contracts. So right off the bat, one thing that I noticed, and I want to give you guys an idea of what this pattern, what the implications behind this pattern can be. So for this setup, it's obviously a bit of a rising wedge. That's a reversal pattern. And so for me, I know that looking at it I remember seeing this after hours. So after we had already swung it, and when we opened up this morning, I saw it right around there, right around the 107 mark. I was like, okay, pretty impressive. Now, for the most part, when you see a rising wedge, the reversal doesn't mean like if it's on the daily, yes, it can reverse the trend. If it's on the hourly, yes, it can reverse, just like upwards move it really strongly. But if you could get, for the most part, you're going to see a 30% retracement of the pattern's height. So if you were to go and take, right, let's go pull this up right here. So if I was to take this and measure it, the height, right, you can expect, right, and that's over 50% of a retracement. You almost retrace close to around 70, 65, 75% of this pattern. And I misspoke. It's going to be around 45 to 50% of the retracement of that pattern. And that seemingly works on all time frames. So, and funny enough, Asan, when you go and pull Asana, when you pull it up on the hourly time frame, you notice that there is in fact a larger rising wedge. So if we take that same theory, right, and we put it to work here, and who knows, we may get one more bounce up, right? But if we take that theory just based on what we see now, then we're likely going to see Asana back to 96.55, right? And with the market the way that it is now and the positions that we were in, it just seemed to me like a better idea. Um, Yeah, it seemed like a better idea to get out. If you guys are on TikTok, thank you guys for hitting the like button. The link is in the bio if you guys would like me to take a look at any charts I'm just charting tonight. It's a chart party. So anyway, that would be my setup here on ASAN. I'm gonna add an alert to the trend line. Let's see. I'm gonna put Robert is watching. All right. I'm gonna add that alert there, top of that trend line. And this is what I would do, right? So you can either A, go do this manually, watch for those pivot points, or go find these levels yourself. Okay. So obviously if you're in weeklies, these levels become more important, right? So these are the micro and macro levels here. So that's kind of how I would put my thumb on Asana there. And it depends. I would honestly take depending on the strike, maybe $100 put. This one might actually be one to watch during quad witching. So I think I'm gonna put, you know how you can mark this, y'all? You can and I'm gonna rip this out. But you can put, like when you're making your watch list, you can do this, right? So this is one way to prioritize or go, and this is up to you, right? It depends on your trading style. But if you put ASAN, right, or you're listening to me and you want to go over my work, so you write down all the Apple, the ASAN, and then you write down next to it like right hourly, so 1 hour rising wedge potential reversal, right? And then from there, you can kind of fill out, what strike you might get. So for me, I would definitely look at a $100 put, potentially taking it, back down to that $96 level. But if anything, the first real bounce level that I see is 102, and we still make some pretty decent gains off of that. So, so we get those monitor. What? Do what? You don't get my monitors. Where do you get these monitors? You can buy these monitors. um. Anyway, so that's a sauna right there. Hopefully that helps. Yes, we got any. All right, let's keep it moving. So PLTR, Big Stepper. Those of you guys who are outside of the Discord, Big Stepper is one of our admins, slinging the fire. So we're gonna go ahead and go with, ouch, PLTR. Let's go to the daily. Let's just start this off on the daily time frame. And what do you know? We're heading up. Oh, you're not gonna like me. Oh, you're not gonna like me at all. PLTR bulls, close your eyes. Close your eyes. You're not gonna like this one. Maybe. Hold on. Let's see. I'm just joking. All right. Where am I? Okay. So I'm gonna give you guys both sides of the coin on PLTR here. Um, so I can't hide the fact that I see a rising wedge. Okay, this is not preferable price action when you're going up towards a resistance. We also can highlight the volume. Now, I can and do see a volume spike. Oops, that was terrible. So we got a little volume spike there, but we've seen better, right? We've seen more volume. That's a testament to how higher volume during an uptrend can usually mean a sign of a reversal. Same thing here. Look, high volume spike, reversal. High volume spike, reversal. How money is that? Anyway, so comparable movement or comparable volume. It looks like it's around that average, a little bit maybe above it. I would like to see the volume somewhere around June's volume. So right around here, something in there. But for PLTR, if you look at the channel that it's in, I think I saw this in the chat, 2750 is that mark. And I wouldn't even argue that this isn't a cup. The only thing I would maybe argue is the potential for even maybe an inverse head and shoulders where you have that head like dip right here, you have your shoulder dip here, and you've got your shoulder dip there. So if it does end up being that inverse head and shoulders, which is still a cup, then you have a gap, right? And this would be where it would be beneficial to break up to the upside. But I will also remind you all that after looking at the mid cap ETF, you guys notice how much of a range that it's held for quite a while here. So anyway, PLTR, small gap starts at $30, ends looks like around 31.35. So the next target above this 2750, I think the immediate target would be that $29 mark, where we saw so much stoppage, and you are nearing the top of what was once that supply zone. So I guess now demand. Sure, we'll take a look at Pfizer. Be sure to hit the link in the bio if you guys have any requests. Okay. It's 9 o'clock. So, okay, so here's my last warning. Because the one thing that I do see is the small gap, very, 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 very small gap starting at 2350. It looks like 2365, ending at 2321. So if you reject 2750 and don't get fooled by a wick up to 27 or even 28, you want to close that hourly candle around that level with good volume. So I'd keep an eye on PLTR there, but it looks good. It has a good setup. It just needs that volume and that push. So hopefully you see some type of momentum there. Sorry, the message. What's up, everybody who's hopping on YouTube here? Thoughts on uranium? I think uranium is great. We're currently holding UUU from like a $3 average. So, do you think CLRL has more upward mobility? We'll take a look at it here momentarily. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so we got PLTR. Let's keep it moving. Okay, we got Starbucks, and then we got RXT. Wait, hold on, no. PLTR day. Okay, cool. All right, so we got Starbucks. Oops, come here, Starbucks. All right, so we've got Starbucks figured out, y'all. But here's the thing, and I thought to myself the other day, what is the real likelihood, that we see Starbucks? Because and I want to reiterate, this is a teaching moment, right? When technicals work out, be careful, right? When a support on the daily gets broken, like this, no matter where you're charting it from, right? So if you're charting it from that lower time frame here, you've got it kind of close below support. I think I had mine just kind of sitting like this, but if you go off of that daily trend right here, right? Actually, doesn't look like there's really much there to chart. I would say that's a decent, yeah. So there's a little correction candle there. But so when a channel gets broken, right? that becomes where market makers are more than aware that retail is using technical analysis. That's not new, right? That's they know. Okay, they know. This isn't a secret. Um, Now, with that being said, you've got to be smart, right? Look at the volume spike. They will, and I'm gonna change gears really quick. I'm gonna go over to Microsoft. All right. So Microsoft, look at this. Look at these candles. 3 times they drop it. And this is a verified support, right? This support's verified on Twitter and everything. Like this thing literally loses support 3 times. And you know who bought these dips? Nancy Pelosi, senators, Republicans, Democrats, all of them. They bought that dip. And what do you know? You get a big strong move up to the upside. So that being said, on Starbucks, don't be fooled because you think that you have a broken support. Because in my opinion, and I'm speculating that I have my support off based on the way that this is set up because I don't think that Starbucks is going to leave a gap above it. Now, if this is the start of a real pullback for Starbucks, then maybe I'm wrong. So I'm trying to make sure that I have my support right. So no, I think I'm pretty much right on this support. So whether I like it or not, and I'm just trying to make sure that I wasn't like just stretching it, but I would say that this is correct. So you have a lost support. I mean, you definitely are around that range. But here, this is where you look at these levels, right? At certain levels that you potentially could see bounces at. Wow, this crisp technology is something else. My daughter is having a how is Spy, my guy? We'll take a look at Spy. Hey, Behan, I'm gonna try and say your name. Bahandrik. Okay, no, I failed miserably. One more time. Behandar. Nope. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. Okay, so any I would love to get to your request like now, but there's a lot of people on YouTube. So if you guys want to get it on YouTube, I'm cruising through your guys' chart request. I'm here till 10 o'clock. We got a whole hour. So if you guys want to hop on, the link is in the bio. So anyway, Starbucks broken support right here. We've got a gap above us. We really, 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 really definitely need to see a bounce tomorrow and a retracement back up to that 115. This is a one basically a head and shoulder setup, loss of support. In my opinion, that's rough. In my opinion, you've got to bounce. So I would say a 115.75. If you climb above 115.75, then maybe we have a little bit of a different story here. So all right. Okay, so let's get to Walmart. All right, Walmart. I'm doing chart requests right now, so okay. Oof, that's a rough one. All right, so this is one of two things, right? Now, I would say a double top, but I do believe that this wick here can potentially count as that first initial bounce up. So here I'm going to give you two scenarios, right? Um, below 142, right? Below 142 candle close, I would speculate that Walmart trends to the downside. Um, maybe not permanently, but it would be coming off of what looks to be that double top. Now, I'm going to speculate. I don't think this is correct. No. So I'm going to say that at that 151, I'm going to say 150, 150. All right. So 150, 150. And as a support, I would be watching 143.85. 143.85, maybe even right back down here, 142.50. So what you're going to be trying to do here is bounce off of support right here, coming off of these earnings low. So March 16th low. And then from there, you want to try and break out to the upside. So that would be my outlook there. So below this pivotal white line here, and I bet you anything. Look at that. So look where my 200-day EMA is curling right up. So you've got one or two things that is going to happen there. You're either going to that's going to be a rejection there, and you're going to be trending down. So I would say below 141 for sure on Walmart, you will move to the downside. So all right, that's a bit. Hopefully that helps. I will say one thing, right? 15-minute, that's showing a little bit of resiliency there. There's a pre-market high up there. So watch for a break and downtrend, at least on a lower time frame above 145.50. Yeah, you can tell a little bit better on the hourly. Look at how clean that is. Wow, that's insane. So set lots of alerts on this one. Spooky downtrends. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, we have Walmart. Jamia. Oh, Jamia. Oh shit, that looks like terribly terrible. We'll see. All right, so this 50 EMA, which is so little volume here on Jamia right now. Lately, more volume after earnings, but overall, the volume is incredibly low. So I think we talked about this before. So I think that looking at this setup here, I think really with Jamia, uh, 18 bucks, right? That's going to be a big support level. That's obviously where you got that massive bounce. You've got that smaller bounce here at 1995. But I'm looking at this hourly time frame, and it's kind of speaking a reversal. So you have like almost like a head and shoulders type pattern. So I do imagine that Jamia may end up seeing that 1685 low. Now, if you go look at the daily, that would make the third time that it's tapped that support. If it does go tap that support, that's kind of the uh, that pivotal mark there. So I would say below that mark, you're going to trend back down to around $15, unfortunately. But I will say, and I want to warn you that with something like Jamia, I still hold my long leaps. And the reason why I hold my leaps is because if ever Amazon or any other company like Ozone or SE or Melly, any one of those e-commercers decide to jump in and help Jamia, buy Jamia, whatever, right? You're not going to be able to catch it. You're going to have to just be in. So every once in a while, I put a little bit of money into that because I believe that can happen based off of not only mine, but you have Andrew left from Citron, who also is in the same thought process on that. So kind of look a little messy there, but 42.27. Nice. All right, Mary. Sorry, I just saw that. Sean, are you or you? Four U's or okay? No, you said four U's. What's my price target on that? I'm aiming for $10. So if you guys got our fill on you, it's all about you, you. Yeah, we'll take a look at Spy. If you guys want me to hit your request, make sure to spam that like button. I appreciate you guys on TikTok. Apparently, that's the only thing that makes TikTok run. Ridiculous. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. All right. So, for me, anyway, I know this sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I know, Sean, you've probably used this method before. I think long term target, and I know it's being pushed a little bit, but I really do believe that uranium has a place in the future. Obviously, it already does, but there are going to be new ways that are developed in order to use and sustain that energy. So for me, I would be watching the same kind of move. So if you take that and 1 second, and you put it back up, I guess that breakout level, I'll just use that, be kind of liberal with it. You could say around 1250 is where we could potentially see you. You. All right. Anyway, so that's just kind of a speculative move. Now, once that, I will say, if you're watching the day or even the 4 hour time frame, the highest volume spike, and that we've already seen today as the highest volume spike so far. So we're gonna want to see higher volume going into next week. If that occurs, if we do get that higher volume, then I'm definitely gonna want to probably scale out of a good amount of the stocks that I'm holding currently in options. So looks like in pre-market here we're up against 860, 886. Is anybody in? You. All right. All right. So I'm gonna do. See, what was it now? We got Walmart, J Mia, Zoom. All right, so Zoom is in the gulag at the moment. We're gonna find out if it has a chance to get out. Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna restart it. You know what it was? There. Sorry about that. Thanks for your patience. All right. So anyway, let's take a look at Zoom here. We are, and it's so crazy. Everything is at bounce levels. Okay, so we are getting very close, and if not, are at a pretty significant bounce level. So daily time frame, we've got a huge gap to fill, and that gap gets filled all the way to 340. Currently, we're trending down at 279.12. For me, and this is a supply zone, so we're going to be bouncing off of a supply zone here. Now, let me reiterate just to be sure. Um, okay, so I apologize. This is a demand zone. I'm getting dyslexic with my zones. This is a demand zone. So a zone underneath us right here, that's a demand zone. So we're gonna want to go and we're bouncing right now off of that demand zone. Okay, this also sets us up for a potential double bottom-ish, right? So we do have that bottom here. So if we bounce, right, even if we decide to go and test downtrend. Now this downtrend is going to be pulled off the top here, and you basically looking at the wicks, right? You can see there's an angle to the wicks. It's backed up by the 20-day EMA. So this downtrend is really, really tight, is not going to give Zoom a ton of room to run. 273, 274, excuse me, 274, I think, is the lowest that we could possibly see Zoom. Zoom will likely bounce at that level. And once it does, I want to see a strong engulfment candle there on the daily. So, um, all right, we are on YouTube right now. If you guys want to hit the link in the bio. Thank you guys for dropping likes in the chat. I appreciate that. I don't mind looking at that though, for sure. Okay. Let's go look at the hourly and then we'll keep it moving. Is it too? Oh, shoot. All right. I know this sounds crazy, dude, guys, dude, but I actually use this. A lot of the times I'll use speculative, right? You'll see the support, the resistances start to form before they happen. So that's kind of what I'm eyeballing right there. It does look like, though, that this was that downtrend. We're going to have to go to the 5 minute here. Okay. So here's the story. Pull back here, gap up above that downtrend, pulled down hard, gap filled. You get a little bit of a bear flag, continuation, another bear flag after hours, continuation, and that's pretty much repeated itself. At this point, you're going to want to see it above 282. To above 282, I think you could see a decent bounce at that level, 282.75 or 283.75, 284, and then 286.87. So Zoom definitely could get a strong bounce. That one you're going to want to set alerts all over it in order to get that cascading alert system. Zoom has the setup to bounce, so it's at that level in order to bounce. I would bank on more of a bounce, and if anything, right, rather than even just getting that straight right away bounce, you could in fact wick down and hit 270, or yeah, 270 before you actually continue to trend up. So Zoom does offer potentially a good setup there. You guys want me to take a look at Macy's and DKNG? Uh, there you go. Okay, so that's about it for Zoom. I think that actually has a relatively good setup. I'm going to write that on the list for a Zoom double bottom. So this is going to be a support play. Remember we were talking about how we can write our plans as we find these setups, even if we hear them, talk about them, whatever the case may be. All right, so we got Zoom. I'm going to go ahead and go over Sony because we're swinging Sony. So we're in Sony, and I'm really excited to talk about this setup because I think that you guys can learn from it. It does provide a pretty good setup. So with Sony, and like I said, we swung this, so we're actually already up. We already had a breakout, and we're kind of pushing up and looking to go into that 113.50 range potentially tomorrow. But we are up against a pretty heavy resilient support here, or excuse me, resistance with that 112.50. So in after hours, I think we closed the day at 111.75, and then we've already gapped up to 112.22. Now on the daily, this is just a really nice triangle breakout here. You get 1, 2, just like we talk about, 1, 2, 3 bounces off of the 200-day EMA. You guys played it with me as it kind of toyed around with that breakout. We played the $100, $110, $115 strikes, and I am super duper happy to say that this thing is on top of its 500-day HMA. The 500-day HMA is a pretty strong resistance, pretty strong moving average. That's one that I really like to use for long-term trends. When you climb above it, you usually can expect good things. You can see that happening down here at 77. You even see it happen here. Retest, bounce up, make new highs, retest, curl up under, and then you make new highs. So here we're climbing back up above that with a potential EMA crossover. We may find ourselves in that 118 range before long. And one of the things that I love the most about Sony is that it's one of the best stocks to swing as a new trader because it makes its move. The institutions do their work in after hours and in the morning. A lot of the times just profit taking will occur. And if it decides to run, it just runs. So definitely a good stock that I like to trade. So Sony is actually super awesome. What's up? Hey, what's up, Learn with Brian? Sony is definitely one that I'm talking about right now. So anyway, last thing I want to mention here is that it did climb above that 9-day. I was watching it. You can see the 9-day moving average does offer a whole lot of respect on that 4-hour time frame. So we did climb up above it and break that 111.75 level in after hours. So OPAD, if you guys want, link is in the bio for any request. I'm on TradingView. All right, so we got Sony, Roku. Let's do any really quickly. I got Roku set up pretty well. All right, so any. Yeeks. I don't know who's got a hold of this thing. Um, and I will mention that like this right here sets the range for any uh eh, not a good look. I don't like seeing giant spikes like that. But let's go down here to this hourly time frame. So far, using the hourly time frame, the good medium between that higher and lower time frame, we are retesting the very same levels that we broke. So right here, take a look at that. You get the bodies of the candle there. You get the wicks of the candle here. You get more resistance here, more here, and so the good thing, right? The beneficial thing here is that our EMAs are all pointing straight up, right, on any at the moment. And you're underneath that 500-day HMA, and underneath that, so rather than getting that immediate rejection, you are kind of consolidating underneath it. But I will turn your attention to the previous consolidations here, here, and here, where you didn't end up breaking it. The difference between here, here, and here is this, and this is the number one thing. A lot of you guys already know what I'm going to say. Volume. So you've got pretty big spikes in volume that represent nice moves here. You see that too. So you're going to want to see another really high volume day. Bros. Yes. I love BROS. I made some good money on Bros today. That's funny. All right. So that's kind of the setup for any. I would watch it if it closes anywhere below 665. All right. All right. So Roku. So Roku's chart's pretty clean. And I do expect to see some potentially some sort of reversal here. Now, I'm thinking that, and I'm not quite sure because I still think that there is a potential to see a little bit of a lower low. So you're starting to get those crossovers on the EMA, and it's about time that Roku is overbought, oversold. Everything really is really looking pretty rough for Roku. And you'll notice here on the weekly that as it closes below support, it's not showing much strength, and it's not, I mean, this is a new week, but it's not showing much strength. So in order to hold this, and to be honest with you, I kind of feel like Roku could shoot back up into the 370s. If a correction occurs, Roku will likely go back into that 370 level. Now, looking on the daily time frame, um, what's going to need to happen here is 345. So 345 is going to be that main target. Now we can play it up there, but it's going to be rougher. Especially if if we play it tomorrow, I would say the first target's going to be 332.50 on a bounce, and that's for scalping or day trading 332.50. So that's for a bounce, and that's retracing to the 200 or to the 9-day moving average, but also the very same level that we broke. So this is the level that we broke, and a lot of the times we'll retest that level. Right there, you see the 9-day moving average holding right there. But if we end up breaking that downtrend, right, and we go up and we end up retesting anywhere around 335, 336, or just then you may end up just breaking downtrend. So a break in downtrend is going to occur above 340, 50. So that's kind of what I would speculate there. Thank you guys for all the likes on Twitter. I appreciate that. I will take your guys' requests. If you guys have any requests, link is in the bio on YouTube. So. Sounds like we were all given lewds. Oh God, what happened? Yeah, so I think Roku, but the thing that I would turn your attention to is that falling wedge too. The falling wedge looks pretty sick. So lots of alerts on that one. So I think ASAN downside definitely stood out to me as a potential play. Zoom uh, upside potentially, and then Roku upside as well are looking pretty good as well. So. Okay. So let's see, it's 9:32. Let's keep it moving. So I got any. I'll take a look at UPS really quick. I gotta make sure I keep don't miss anybody's charts. All right. Wow. So let's take a look at UPS. So UPS is really, really flirting with, and I'm kind of laughing at this thing right now because it's trading so very unusually, because at this point I would have expected, and I think a lot of people have, a move to the downside. And you can see that when you move to the daily, that there are definitely sellers sitting here. So the first initial thing is you have this daily support, right? And you're gonna have a mess with this. Now you have that daily support. You do end up breaking down. You have that bullish candle reversal. Buyer step back in, but the volume is incredibly low. You'll notice that there, and you immediately get another very bearish candle. So you got another bounce here. So it shows you that buyers are definitely sitting at that 190 level on UPS. That's a preferable level for them. So in order to break that down, you're gonna need to see a strong push to that 188, 187 level. If you go to the hourly time frame, looking at the way that that's set up, I would suspect that if you set up this bilateral pattern like so, that you can probably let that trade come to you that way. So I would suspect, and I would probably go ahead and set an alert on this trend line. So what will likely happen here, if I'll give you the downside and the upside. So if we end up moving up here, right? This is going to be 1, 2, 3. We're going to want to see a break. If we reject, that's 3 on the downside. So more than likely, you'll see a little bit of this, a little bit of, bulls, and then drop. And that's likely towards the end of the day. So it could take, right? Could take all the way to tomorrow, right? You end up getting a spike of rejection. You could swing puts, long dated, and then a break of that 192.61 right here. And you can see that line, that level represented well. That's the downside. So set that level there, okay? And then to the upside, first level you're going to want to pay attention to is that 194 level. 194 confirmed hourly candle close above 195, and you could very well go take another crack at that previous support turn resistance. So tech, I can take a look at that. Is day trading a good idea? Depends on who's asking. Maybe not for everybody. All right. Let's see. Roku. All right. So let's keep it moving. Um, so we got CCL. And right off the bat, I can tell you that this is pretty wonky. So either one of two things. You've got a disgusting looking bear flag here, which honestly, this is showing very little strength, but looking at this, oh my God, look at that. If that's not controlled. So there's your setup there. Okay. I definitely, looking at that price action, I would definitely let that thing come to you. So above 23.73 and below, and really I'd say even further below that, because if you move to the daily here, you'll see that you're basically getting close to dropping back down to that daily support, which is going to be around $20. So if you want me to take a look at SPY, just if you guys have any requests, just hop. Link is in the bio. Type your message. We've still got a little bit of time here, so please feel free to hop in YouTube right now, and I'll take a look at the charts. All right, so thoughts on uranium. Can you take a look at SPY and QQQ? Yep, let's do it. All right, so we've talked about this crazy support right now on SPY. And the 50 EMA was not quite touched. Okay. Now I'm looking back at previous reversals. Okay. Now here's one that didn't show a lot of strength, but we still ended up moving up and retesting the 9. We're pretty close to our 9-day moving average. And then we ended up falling. So here you can see that on these bounces shows a little bit more strength. Here, the volume is pretty high. I would suspect that they're going to push this up. Now, if we go to the 4-hour, this is what I'm speculating, because we're there. We're right there. If we reject or futures gap down, we go straight to 441.65 tomorrow. Facts. Okay, 441.65, 441.75. Those two, that 10-cent gap there is exactly where I would be watching for SPY to pull down to. Now, to the upside, 449. If we break there, the immediate target is going to be, I'm using the 4-hour 200 HMA, but I would suspect that the first target's going to be that 450 mark. 450 right on the dot. That gives stocks enough room to run. You'll notice too that everything as far as the RSI, the MACD are all turning over as if they want to reverse and move to the upside. So again, not as a strong bounce as we've seen when it comes to these levels, but and normally when we get to the 50, look at the 50, right? The 4-hour candles. So you get a little bit of fight here. So I'm not promising anything, but quad witching is right around the corner. So let's just keep that in mind. If we do gap up, that's even worse. If we gap up, here's what could possibly happen. If we gap up anywhere around 449, we spike up, right? And then we sell off. And we use this previous downtrend as support. So yeah, 449. All right, and then as far as the Qs are concerned, SPY puts, people calling for October correction on the entire market. All right, why? I would ask them why. As long as there's not a reason why, it's not going to happen. As long as SPY does not have a catalyst, right? And if it's taxes, or if it's tapering, if it's stimulus, lack of stimulus, less stimulus, whatever the case may be, that's a catalyst. That's something that can move down. If all of a sudden job numbers are not getting better, that can move it down. So those type of things like can cause a correction, and the correction, right? A correction is a lot different than a crash. A correction is just a downtrend, right? Like just you're just trending down. So I mean, for SPY, even if you just decide to like shoot back up and trade flat here, as long as there's no, and here's the thing, there's a window between, and I wouldn't I wouldn't put it past the market to dump in going into and after October, because here's the deal. Normally after earnings season is when we'll dump, especially on some of our bigger tickers. So we may end up melting just barely up unless some type of catalyst. And they usually say something that makes the market jerk is anything that makes like people think that the market could not exist anymore, right? So like that's a crash, like a global pandemic, it's enough to make people panic. So especially with all the zombie movies. SEC, you want me to chart that? I don't chart them. PayPal, SPY. I just did SPY. If you guys want, hop on the YouTube. Uh and I'm charting there right now. Link is in the bio for any chart request. All you have to do is just comment it in the comments, and I'll get to them. All right. I'm keeping it moving. So thank you guys for your patience. I appreciate it, y'all. I really do. How does support get verified on Twitter? Gold news? I don't know, dude. Can Microsoft go for all-time highs? Dude, I'm banking on it. See, here's the thing. We don't need a lot. We just need the Qs to reach. And here's what I was going to say about the Qs. Is the Qs are showing. Look at this wick. Look at this wick on the 4 hour. This is after hours, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see a pop up to 381.85 or 382. 382, that previous channel support. And if we break that, we go and we hit 385.32 on the Qs, which if that occurs, I want you guys to take a look at mother freaking Microsoft, because this thing can go to 310. And you guys know I know Microsoft just, oh my God. I say that in my chart. Thank you. Thank you, TradingView, because I was about to lose my shit. Messing up my chart lines and stuff. Not cool, my guy. All right. So as far as Microsoft is concerned, and I've got a lot of crazy ass lines happening here, so forgive me. So take a look at this, right? Look at the Qs, look at that price action, and then look at Microsoft, right? Definitely holding a little bit of strength. Now, I'm using this as a downtrend, as that channel there, definitely broken. So we definitely have broken out. And I think I was talking to you guys today, 305.75 and really the 306 level. That's where we're going to go to. So right off the bat tomorrow, that 306 level is going to be pivotal. And I really mean it. It's going to be pivotal. When you go out to the daily time frame, I didn't even quite, this thing is sneaky. And that's why you never sleep on Microsoft. Microsoft hit that look at that line right there. Look at that's your so inside of those of you who are swing traders, or if you don't use this, but the standard deviation channel, the line in the middle, that's the linear regression line, fancy name for the middle line. That's where we bounced. So we bounced off of that channel. I do imagine, and I don't think that it matters that we had gaps beneath us. I do believe that we could, just based off of the trajectory that we have, could hit 310. Now, I will say, looking at, and oh, let me, there we go. So yeah, that would actually put us up right there. Why? You guys saw my support was normal. All right. So let's put a little price target here. So that I have this marked all the way at 312, but that's not even using the wick. So there we go. So within this week, right, I have it right there around 311, 310. So that's based off of that current resistance. So Yeah, Microsoft, I believe Microsoft will trend continue to pop up from there. Every time it pops up, it'll just have that bit of like that small pullback, and then it will usually continue to trend up. But I will say that usually when I see this type of setup, that leads me to believe that we could start forming a reversal pattern. So, okay. Yeah, sorry if you guys hear me mix my numbers up. It's the dyslexia, so I apologize. I numbers be flipping. All right. I'm gonna CEI, and I'll just keep this short and sweet. All right. You're making bull flag after bull flag, consolidating here, consolidating there, making a new high here. Shorts are fighting you at every step, probably retail shorts as well. Y'all, you want to tell me that's normal? So I'm just letting you guys know if you're playing CEI as a fundamental investment, you're about to get left holding the bag if this thing doesn't pick up real like fundamental value sentiment. So looking at the hourly, looking at everything else, there's the shorter time frame support levels, like this one that you can draw. I see this. I think I was looking at it earlier. I see a CEI popping up to 190 tomorrow, 189, getting those buyers nice and pumped up to go to two, and then it pulls right back. And then I think you'll see a 50% retracement back down to 135, 140. So that's my thoughts on CEI. But I just want you guys to know what you're dealing with as far as volume is extremely abnormal. But I also like to show you guys that for quite a while here, the volume was really high in comparison to previous sessions. So makes me wonder if there wasn't people accumulating and grabbing the bag. So uh we did swing Microsoft. I wouldn't say I'm not telling you to swing Microsoft because that's something that we've already done. So um ABBV had a great breakout today. I watched that one. I wasn't able to play it because I was already preoccupied, but all right, so I already have this one charted. That's pretty sick. ABBV is making a massive, giant rising wedge. Right now, today, ABBV wicked up and hit that 9-day moving average. So you do have that first initial crossover. So anytime you go for a crossover on EMA crossover anywhere, usually you'll retrace or go and tap those moving averages. So you're at a really pivotal place considering that you are on support. You're going to need to see a reversal here relatively soon. Um, and that's a strong rejection. 1, 2, 3 off of 106. So basically another trip down to 106, and more than likely you will see ABBV move to the downside out of this pretty massive. And honestly, oh my God, you know what? So if we're basing this off of a 50 to 60 percent retracement off of ABBV, oh my God, that is stupid money. I'm sorry. I may go out when is earnings? November. I may go out on a limb. Let me write this down as like a long YOLO. And you guys, this isn't like it financial advice, but I just saw something that really caught my eye. So, right, what I'm doing here is I'm looking at the breakout, right? I'm looking at where ABVV first shot up and established that trend line. So I'm drawing a line there because that was, and you can see it going back, that strong support. Now, if this is a rising wedge and it's going to pull back, right, or retrace, then what I would be suspecting, obviously, this thing is going back down to 100. It looks like it got a level at 102. So that's the first stop. But overall, you're going to see around a 50 to 60% retracement of this pattern, no matter what the time frame. This is the daily, so you're more than likely going to what? Go fill this gap. Look at this gap from 91.83 to 89.42. So maybe even going out till January, right? And I'll take a look at those tomorrow and see how it opens up. But we'll see if ABVV closes above 109.75, 110, then you're going to go back and retrace 112 and then use these moving averages. But for the most part, this is a massive reversal pattern. And I think long term, you're going to move to the downside. Do you think Apple from now to October can be down to 135? I do think that Apple could do that. That is potentially, uh, yeah, I do. I mean, here's the thing, there's two different scenarios here, right? And this all has everything to do with the market and what happens between now and then. So for me, um yeah, I would say 135. This is not a good, you notice how Microsoft stayed, at an angle bullishly. Apple just flat out just fell, and it's like they withheld news. They always do that, but the chart sets up the news. So you reject that top mark right there. You fall to the 50-day EMA. You almost hit that linear regression line. It's a matter of just reacting to price action. So you will go likely retrace 150. But in my opinion, I'm staying bearish on Apple. Uh, Overall, I think looking at it as the potential for it to reverse, that happens, at a break and downtrend, and then we could see 160. But based off the current trajectory, and I know everybody thinks that iPhones. Let's see. Let me do something. When was iPhone 12 released? What? Oh, wait, is it the 13? Or I think it's like the third. October 2020. Okay, so hold on, let me see something. All right, so this is the last time they released their iPhone. How's that? They dumped. They jumped up, they dumped. They finally, the most ugliest, and this was after earnings, mind you. So after the iPhone was released here, first released on October 23rd. So basically from here to here was when the iPhone was released across the world, as far as regionally. Then you see a push up, up to that 145 level. Excuse me. If you guys are on TikTok here, the link is in the bio if you guys want to actually see my chart and stuff like that. So, all right. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. So, all right. So I'm gonna do Tesla now. Thank you guys again for your patience. All right. So I have a similar story as I do with a lot of these stocks. And Microsoft may be a good story. So before we get like overzealous and start like thinking that we have like a major reversal coming here on Tesla, I'd like to remind you guys that we also have this rising channel, right? Now we're kind of set up to potentially go and retest it, right? So that retest for me is going to recur at 770. That's for Tesla. Now, Tesla could continue to melt up until it hits the $800 price target, right? That's only if my channel works out, right? So this is what, and we are making higher highs here. So I, first of all, before I say anything else, this wick right here from 708 all the way back up to 742 speaks numbers of where buyers are at. So it is highly likely we hit 770 past yesterday's highs. But, and again, this is a big but, if we push to that resistance tomorrow, we will pull back on quad witching. NGL. All right. Thank you guys for spamming that like button. I appreciate it. All right. Pfizer. Hold on, moving my way down here. Robert, I'm gonna pick one at a time off of your watch list, so that way I can make sure I get to everybody. Look at Rackspace. Rackspace is already charted here somehow. There you go. So looks like you're still trying to go and fill your gap. You're still holding your daily 9-day moving average. Uh, you're holding the 20 and the 9. So tomorrow I would watch for tomorrow or potentially going into next week. I'd watch for a pop off of that 50, above 15 with good volume to $16 here. You're gonna want to finish that. You might even fill that gap to 1644 where that gap will finally get filled. So there is a large gap above you as well. So this is probably one that you're going to want to set a lot of alerts on, but just because the gap is above you doesn't mean it will get filled. Now, anyway. All right. When you say a long leap on Jamie, how far out do you mean, and time and money? I have January $50 and $60 calls on Jamie. I'm even in March as well. If it happens, the value of those calls will fly. So thank you guys for spamming that like button in the TikTok. The algorithm loves it. All right. C3. Okay, so let's go. Eric Chan says PLTR Ford agent. I already looked at that one. I'll pick one off of that, and I'll look at it. Shit. Holding up decently, Mobo, but it looks like, yeah, it looks like you had a fake out today. It looks like you tried to go reverse back into support, but you failed. Not you, but it failed. Um, Look at that gravestone doji. What the hell? What the hell? Um, so I think there's strength at 47.85, 48.50. It's a good dip right there. I want to see the hourly setup though. Oof, that's a pretty strong rejection. All right, so below 49.45 and continuation back down. 48.24 is going to be that next bounce level. You got to bounce there or you're probably going to trend back down, I would imagine, and start exchanging this previous support or resistance as support. So you're in a good place to potentially double bottom here. Excuse me. But you need to see volume, and you saw good volume today. But you need to see a strong bounce and reversal into $50 range again. So, um, all right, guys. RXT may not fill its gaps immediately. Yes. Yeah, I know there's not a lot of people right now online. I think everybody's CLR. Ooh, that thing broke out of my pattern there. That one's going. I'd say to the top of that, so 48.50. 40, yeah, 49.31, and then 50.52. Uh, I would say a weekly. Oh yeah, you got room to run here. I would definitely say 48.50, excuse me, is a next good long target there. Past these highs that it's gonna push past 43.83. Does Jamia hit 24 by December 17th? Garrett, tell me. No, no shit. Uh, Jamia, will it hit 24? If it bounces and reverses, yes, but otherwise, no. Okay. So let's go back up. Where was I at? All right. If I missed your ticker, let me know. But I think I did it. Should be it. All right, forward. Forward looks like a little bit of hot dog water here. You did have a nice break and downtrend. You broke that downtrend gap down. Still trying to hold that. So I think that above 1350, that this is likely going to end up being a bottom for you. But that is the absolute mark that I would take it at. I wouldn't take it anywhere else besides 1350. So another couple cent moves, but I don't trade Ford. It's not good to trade right now. It's no movement. It needs catalysts. So all right, Ford, Agent. Any other last minute requests? Let me know. It's about time to go to bed. I'm not even gonna put that up there. Well, right off the bat, you got a big old gap starting at 982, closing at 382, closing at 331. Um, you are cruising down pretty hard. It does look like you also broke this little support. That's definitely strong reversal. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. This looks like a pump and dump. Look at the weekly. They just pump it and they dump it. That's not natural. I don't know what this is, but whatever they do, they need to do better because this is just kind of an embarrassment, whatever they're doing. Hopefully the CEO is not in here right now, or he's gonna be very offended. Um, yeah, I mean, look, they take it to a new high and then they dump it, and they do that consistently. So I'm not sure if the news just doesn't correlate. They used to. Oh my God, that's not. That is no way. Yeah. So that would be my thought process there. So wow, that looks terrible. All right. Well, very clearly trading in a channel here. I would watch it above 2175 hourly time frame. So yeah, so beautiful. So you have the 200-day EMA right here at 2145. 2145 pop. Watch that one to 2225, but also just that first rejection at $22. Even is what I'll be watching for there. But if you do end up breaking 2145, you would break downtrend and you could potentially see continuation to the upside. So NNVC, I'll take a look at that. Juan Esparzo Es Esparragosa. Esparragosa. I hope I didn't mess that up. 69. All right. I'm gonna look at Zynga, then Anna Fiber. Okay, so Zynga's getting real close to needing to bounce here. You're really, really in need of a. In fact, that's a. Oh my gosh. All right, so I gotta. I'm pretty sure that's a bearish divergence there. Zynga is going down. It looks like it. I might have to take a put. I don't know about this, man. I don't even know what the fuck Zynga is. Like, I don't know what they do. That's ugly. That's real. That's not that's not good. So I would just say 785. That's the first mark there. 780. You close below this mark here, 775, and you will see new lows. 725, $7, 885 are all price targets that I would expect to see Zynga at. And I think using this downtrend is accurate. You can see right there. So keep that handy. And good luck because the Zynga above $9 has the gap to fill to 961, but it's got to bounce off of support. All right. Fiber and then NNVC, and then I'll do WY and WTHR. Why I did them like that, I don't even know. Okay, so this is actually not quite yet, but actually the beginnings of one of my bread and butter setups on Fiverr. And Fiverr hasn't really caught my attention, really just because I haven't traded it. But so here's the deal. One of the things that I look for is I like to see the 20, the 50, and the 9-day moving average in the same price range. And I want to see them underneath the 200-day EMA. If there's a gap to fill, even better. Fiverr is also performing what looks to be a double bottom off of 158.75. And there is strength, not a lot of it, but there is strength sitting at the 178 and 185 level, pushing that up and wicking off that 195. So here's the deal. Above. So here's how I would like this to happen. And I'll show you guys my price targets along the way. If there's any more downward movement on Zynga, Robert, you could potentially just hedge yourself. So look at this target here, and you could still go long. So 212.50, right? That's 50% of the gap that needs to be filled, right? Around 50%. So that would be my first initial price target past $200. $200 and 195. So that $5 range right there is where you're going to see a lot of movement. I think Fiverr can be added to my watch list for sure. So Fiverr, what I want to see is I want to see a volume pop. I'd like to see that MACD cross over, and I want to see a push past 197 or 196 75. So 196.75. That's where I want to see Fiverr push past in order to start filling the gap. Um, it's already obvious that it's starting to kind of curl up in that manner, so that's kind of what I'd be looking for there. And with that move up there, you want to see the 9, the 50, and the 200 or the 20 all make that crossover to the upside for something that looks similar to like this, but with all of these crossing the 200. So I don't really have a good example here because it just continues to rip. But all right, we'll take a look at NNBC Nano Vic. Okay, so I think this is a fundamental stock right off the bat. I'm not going to pretend like I know how to like specifically chart this. There's really not much of a chart. Maybe. Oh no. Oh no. This is a pump and dump stock, unfortunately. This is a stock that gets pump and dumped very, very hard. So you get a pump here from 433, 953, and just a complete decimation before, and then a long withdrawal before it makes its next pop. So you just kind of have another one of those pops coming here. It's an easy target. So no, I don't like October 8th for 138 put. I'd rather do a 140 put 305. And I think there's probably a better place to buy that, but I think that'll probably be the day, like probably Thursday or tomorrow afternoon. I'll probably swing puts, long dated puts. So, all right, y'all. I'm logging out. Everything's kind of slowing down. Um, if you guys, I will be live tomorrow morning on YouTube trading. I think we're gonna go ahead and trade live tomorrow morning. But make sure you guys, those of you on YouTube, hop in there. So, um, did I miss anything? Uh, Sorry, whatever this is bouncing off of its 200-day EMA. Watch this one to go fill a tiny gap, 35.85 to 36. Watch this one above 35.32. If you open up above 35.32, you could see a nice run into that $38 range on WY. That one looks like it could make a nice rounded bottom there. I'd set lots of alerts on that. 35.50 is a good mark to watch. Also WTHR, fuck, WTRH, excuse me. This one, Waiter Holdings. Okay, so it looks like you might be in store for some sort of bounce, but in my opinion, this stock has lost most of its volume. It looks like it's trading robotically. Yeah, so you have robots trading shares back and forth to each other. Low liquidity. So I'm not gonna. I would rely more on fundamentals as this is a penny stock. So. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Appreciate you guys. I'm out. You guys have a good night. See you tomorrow morning. Peace. Yeah, it should be 8 o'clock, 8:15 in the Discord, maybe a little bit around 8:30 tomorrow on YouTube. So, all right, see you guys. All right, if you guys want to see the recap, it's